I'm Pete McCall, and welcome to episode 71 of All About Fitness. Now, if you're listening to this, you're probably a fitness enthusiast, or you're looking for new ways that you can use exercise to enhance your quality of life. I mean, that is what this podcast is all about. Now, you may also travel a lot for work, and you may find it tough to make time for your workouts when you're on the road. You know, as a fitness educator and a consultant, I spend a lot of time traveling, and it really is hard to schedule times for the workouts or make times, even when I'm teaching a workshop for 7 to 8 hours a day, talking about fitness, demonstrating fitness stuff, I still need to get my workouts in. So when I was on a recent business trip from the West Coast, I live in San Diego, to the East Coast, I was flying in and out of BWI. And I was very excited to see that finally somebody has created the concept of a health club based at airports. On today's episode of All About Fitness, I interview Ty Manegold, the CEO and co-founder of Roam Fitness. We talk about the benefits of having a health club at the airport and the benefits of exercise during travel. It's a great way to reduce stress. Now, wouldn't it be great if you could plan your trip to get to the airport early so you could catch a workout? But what about those sweaty clothes? What about catching a shower? Well, Roam Fitness has you covered. In our conversation today, you'll hear about all the amenities and advantages of Roam Fitness. And you'll also hear about the unique logistical challenges of creating a startup health club specifically for airports. After a quick word from the sponsor of All About Fitness, Ty Manegold, CEO and co-founder of Roam Fitness. Vicor Fitness is the maker of the new TerraCore, which is a step, bench, balance trainer, and multifaceted exercise tool combined into one single platform. Go to vicorefitness.com to see the newest piece of equipment that'll be taking the fitness industry by storm in 2017. Use the code AAF to save 20% on purchasing a TerraCore of your own. TerraCore by Vicor Fitness. Vicor Fitness. Better results from better products. This is All About Fitness. I'm Pete McCall here with Ty Manegold. Ty, first of all, did I pronounce the last name correctly?
Close. Manegold.
Manegold. Okay, I forgot that little syllable there. Well, I apologize about that, Ty. And Ty, what is it that you do? What's the company that you started?
So I am the president and co-founder of Roam Fitness. And Roam is it's a lifestyle brand, I guess, of post-security airport gyms. And we're bringing a refreshing experience to that dreaded airport environment because we believe travel days, shouldn't mean you have to compromise your health.
Wait, what do you mean dreaded airport environment? Come on, the airport isn't that bad.
I mean, well, every time I've gone in the past, I'm always, Googling what traffic is like and kind of figuring out how late I can push it until I show up, knowing that once I get there, I'm going to be a prisoner or captive on the other side of security. And I think a lot of other folks who travel a lot feel the same way. It's just kind of a dreaded.
It's drudgery. And one thing that I really like about this, and for listeners, I stumbled across Roam Fitness when I was in BWI Airport, because right now, currently, that's your only location, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So how long have you been open in BWI?
So we opened up the doors in February of this year, 2017.
And what's the response been? How have people been reacting to it?
It's been fantastic, and we're really pleased with it. Great customer experience. A lot of smiling faces, a lot of customers walking by or potential customers walking by saying, hey, I thought about this 5 years ago. You stole my idea. And really a lot of folks learning about our services, right? We have a complimentary clothing rental program in it. We have showers that are reservable. And so really teaching individuals about what we have to offer and how to utilize us and where we are in the airport. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Well, let's walk through those one at a time, because I think that's really unique. And just for the record, Ty, I'm a frequent traveler. I travel about 100,000 miles a year, and I have so for the last number of years. And since I joined an airline club, it's really changed my game in terms of my personal approach to getting to the airport, because I will arrive early now knowing that I can use the airline club to get some emails done. I can, can get some work done while waiting for my gate. But knowing now that actually there are going to be exercise options, that's a complete game changer as well. So let's walk through a couple of the benefits of the services that you provide. What's the clothing rental service that you guys have?
So I guess I'm going to start out a little bit earlier than that. We access to the gyms through a day, month, or year pass, right? So if you're just walking by and all of a sudden you realize you've got time, $25 is a day pass. Pretty simple and affordable. And any one of those passes gets you full access to the facility. They're all the same. That includes a complimentary clothing rental program that we have set up. If male or women, men or women, doesn't matter. We can outfit you top to bottom, head to toe with Lululemon gear and Brooks running shoes.
I saw that and I thought that was a complete game changer, because I could see one of the hesitations being, oh man, I don't want to get on a flight, or I don't want to start a 4-day trip with a pair of sweaty clothes in my bag. What's been the response to your customers? I mean, how much do they love that little benefit or that part of the service?
It's been better received than we originally anticipated. About 50% of our users or visitors actually utilize that rental system. But if you brought your own, for example, we also have a vacuum sealer pack, so we can shrink wrap it up before you throw it into your carry-on, so those stinky odors you talked about don't permeate your luggage. So we've got other options available as well if you didn't want to rent it. But
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was saying I might to get some information from you on that, because as someone, I travel frequently to teach fitness workshops, so I'm constantly flying with sweaty clothes. I might have to get some insight with you on how you do that. And now the showers, you mentioned something about reserving showers. How many showers are available right now at the location, and like kind of what are your plans with that?
Yep. So at the BWI spot, we have 4 private bathroom, single occupant shower rooms. They're reservable on 15-minute increments, and this is where there is a difference in the memberships just in this one spot. If you have the annual pass, you can reserve that 24 hours in advance. So when you check in for your flight, you can just pull up your membership profile through our website and log in and reserve a shower. Otherwise, you can do it when you show up on site. Those shower rooms, like I said, it's 15 minutes. We provide all the bath products. We've got Mullen & Getz items in there, towel service. Even all the rooms also have little Alexa dots so that you can listen to the radio or set a timer in there, or ask what the weather's going to be like at your destination.
That's pretty cool. And overall, how has the response been in terms of membership? I don't need specific numbers, obviously, but in terms of your projections, are you where you thought you would be, or are you ahead of it?
That's a complex question, or rather a complex answer. Numbers are always going to be challenging. We're in a smaller part of the airport, and we're right after security, which means we get a lot of folks who've just come through who are originating from the airport, but not a whole lot of the layovers.
Okay.
Our numbers are always going up month over month, and we're pleased with that. We also have corporate accounts with the airlines and the airport, the employees themselves. Those continue to rise. But really, our goal is to grow as quick as possible and get as many other stores open as we can. And that's when we're going to see our numbers kind of skyrocket on up.
Well, I think part of it is visibility. You are in BWI, and that's not really what I would consider it's not a hub airport, so to speak. It's much more of a destination airport. And then now with your plans, how challenging was it? I'm interested in the logistics. How challenging was it to work with logistics and work with the airport authority to get the space in there?
Very challenging. It's not like we're doing rocket science here. We're putting gyms in airports, so that part is pretty straightforward. But the complexity involved really comes down to operating behind security. Right, we have to deal with TSA requirements and security protocol. All of that had to be worked out the first time. What was a gym going to look like? Right, where the free weight's going to be an issue, where the locker's going to be an issue. All that stuff. All of a sudden was a new set of challenges, or a new set of questions at the very least, that had never been asked. The other trick was convincing airports that this was within their own benefit. They're always looking at it from a revenue, or usually looking at it from a revenue generation standpoint, And, putting in another quick serve restaurant is always going to yield a lot of return for them. And that was and still is and will continue to be a challenge for us moving forward, showing the airports that actually, it's if you put a service like this in, it's going to pay off, maybe not in revenue right away, but in customer satisfaction, and we think in revenue also later down the road. Happy customers tend to spend a lot more at other services, so it is in their interest. It's a little bit longer game.
Well, I could tell you that if you went with a certain airline and you were able to get within, the airlines, within the airlines, terminal, or whatever, in number of airports, I honestly, for somebody like me, for a business traveler like me that does make fitness a priority, it would be a game changer. I mean, I would be considering, jumping ship from Coke to Pepsi, for example, if they allowed, if you had your service in the terminal. The other thing is, have you tried positioning this to the airlines for employee wellness, for access for their employees on layovers?
Absolutely. We have and do. Some airports already have gyms like that for their employees, or rather the airline at that airport has a small gym put in. But usually they've allocated just some downstairs closet room and threw in a couple old treadmills they found off of Craigslist. They're not fancy. There's no services involved. We're seeing great reception from this. We've got 150 some odd annual members already, and a whole bunch of those are airport and airline staff. We love it because they come in kind of at the opposite times from the rest of the passengers, but then they also can help us get the word out there to their passengers, to their customers on the planes once they know about it. So we love it when the flight crews come on in.
Well, I would imagine so. And then with your background, did you have a background in the fitness industry? I mean, what kind of prompted you to bring this service to the market?
Yeah, no, the answer is not at all. I never dealt with airports or gyms outside of being an end user of both. My background was in program management, and I worked kind of in the nonprofit world for a long time, which is somewhat related to this, right? I had to deal with a lot of entities and figuring out how to get a certain program to fit between it. But I wanted the service myself. I used to, and still do, run a lot, and about 6 years ago, was traveling quite a bit and trying to keep up my running routine, and felt really helpless when I was in the airport. I'm not the first person to have the idea. I'm definitely not the last, but some other folks I met in grad school and I ran with the idea and started to look into it and realized very early on that this certainly had legs. So that's why we kept going with it, and we brought on experts with us. Deborah Regan is one of our I would call her our early founders. She joined the team and is pioneering our BWI spot from a management and operations standpoint. We brought on other folks who we'd call experts in the airport world, and they've helped us, try to figure out what that leasing relationship looks like. And we think we've cracked it because we have airports now calling us asking for the next spot.
Well, that's an amazing thing, Ty. And real quick, I'll touch on one thing in a second. But looking at my timeline or my whatever those are called, timeline of Facebook or Instagram, and again, I'm in a pretty, I have a pretty strong network, a pretty big network of people like me who travel around the world teaching fitness workshops. We teach personal training workshops. And I have friends posting pictures of themselves doing push-ups over the air in Asia. I have friends, showing different luggage exercises they do on airport layovers. So according to my timeline on my Instagram or Facebook feeds, you've got a hit on your hands. It's just a matter of how do you get it out there. And now for listeners, Ty mentioned a name that's near and dear to my heart. Deborah Regan is a former boss of mine. She hired me a number of years ago, and we worked together for a couple of years. What experience has she brought to the table, Ty?
She's been phenomenal, and I'll say hands down, there's no way we would be where we are without her. My co-founder, Cynthia Sandel, and I met her in Baltimore. We had gotten the go-ahead from the airport there, and we said, great, we're going to go with this one if this airport will work. And so we started searching locally for someone to be our GM. And Deborah fortuitously was in the area, and we were, Cynthia and myself were, I'll admit, pretty blind and I guess ignorant to kind of the spa, wellness, gym, fitness industry from a managerial standpoint. And Deborah came in and, has just been killing it in such a good way. She knows how to staff it. She knows what the strains are going to be on, what the bottlenecks are. The fun part for her, I think, is converting all of her 30-some years of experience doing this as, a true professional now into the airport environment and dealing with the, quasi-government, quasi-for-profit environment that's there, and trying to figure out how to relate that back to what she's known, and the strategies that have proven useful to her in the past.
And that's great to hear. It's good to see somebody like that. I guess in fitness industry, and Deborah, when you listen to this, I mean this in absolute no disrespect. I mean it in the highest regard possible. But the tech industry calls people like that gray hairs, right? People that have the experience, and because a lot of the idea people like yourself might tend to skew a little bit on the younger demographic, and so having somebody like that with that industry experience in your corner has been helpful. And do you feel like the fitness industry is a different animal? What industry did you work in before, and how does the fitness industry differ from that?
So I worked in, as I'd mentioned earlier, the nonprofit world. I worked for a couple colleges, Kalamazoo College, University of Michigan, and then a Wilderness Leadership Institute in northern Wisconsin. And so, that was somewhat related to what we're doing right now, in that a lot of it was government entity. There was this back and forth between, weighing pros and cons of what's going to be good or best for the greater good, and still what's going to generate cash, because at the end of the day, cash is king, and if we don't have that, we can't operate. From the fitness industry standpoint, it's a totally different sell, right? We're not catering to one market or one geographic location and, casting our net out a couple miles and trying to place positive impressions upon that community in order to attract members. We have to recruit brand new customers every day to join a gym. That is extremely challenging in this environment. And we're competing against a lot of other substitutes, sitting down and eating, having a beer, sleeping, there's certainly a time and place for all of those. And as a frequent traveler, I've definitely done that. But we're trying to, convince folks that there's a better alternative out there, and that it can be done in a couple of minutes. And that is challenging just because it's new and the airport's already a high-stress environment.
Well, and I would argue that, and in support of what your concept is, and one of the reasons why I'm so keen on it, is that over the last few years, I have seen a remarkable change in the in the hotel fitness center room. I laughed earlier because you said that, if an airport has a wellness facility, if an airline has a wellness facility, it's basically an old treadmill. Well, I can't tell you how many small hotels I've been in that basically that's what their fitness room, quote, fitness room looks like. Just a couple cheap, consumer brand treadmills with some maybe weights they got at the local sports authority, rest its soul, when it was in business. But, and I've seen a remarkable change in that, because I do think, and from my experience, and if you listen to Tim Ferriss's podcast, you'll hear that a lot of executives and a lot of leaders make fitness a priority. I think, has that been your experience, is that you tend to skew or draw people that tend towards or are from the executive ranks of their respective businesses?
That's certainly our goal and is laid out in our business plan, right? The decision makers at those companies who do value fitness are the ones who are going to be traveling. And so that's why we love our location. Right now, because it's so early on in in our journey, we're really getting the early adopters, the gym rats, the people who are placing this above and beyond the typical priority. But our goal is to shift that around and to have those execs who do say, it's worthwhile for our company to invest in a corporate wellness program. We would love to be involved in that. We would love to supplement their efforts for their employees on the road. You talked about, too, also hospitality industry starting to shift around a little bit. That's a lot of hotels with bad gyms, but they're seeing the importance of this too in terms of attracting customers. So one of our team members, his name's Adam Glickman, and he's used to work for IHG and was key and instrumental in the creation of the Even brand hotels. It's a really cool company or cool brand. They've got about, 10 locations now, but they're all fitness minded. Each room's got its own, yoga facility basically built in it. And they're going after the millennial and Gen X business traveler who's health conscious and minded. Same person we're doing.
Well, but I have to imagine there's so many of us out there that, the only reason why we do something like grab a beer or get something to eat at the airport is because we don't have any other options. And then what type of equipment do you guys provide in your facility? Do you have any relationships with existing vendors and kind of what type of atmosphere? Is it strength based? Is it cardio based? What type of workout could people expect?
Yeah, great question, and one that we spent a lot of time working on early on in this process. We went out and interviewed 500 some odd people and asked, where are you interested in an airport gym? What would it look like? One of those things was, what would you need in it? And then we allocated floor space appropriately to that. We actually built ourselves a prototype gym in a warehouse first before we tried this.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, in terms of the equipment, we wanted it to be very technology integrated. We know that our customers are mainly millennials and Gen Xers, but we do have outliers outside of that. But that they're always on their phone. They want to be plugged into their emails, into social media, into whatever. And we wanted an entire facility that related to that. So we ended up going with Techno Gym for a lot of our equipment. Just because, they're high end, they're durable as all get out, but they're very tech integrated. We have a Concept 2 rower in there as well, and those cardio equipment pieces are definitely our most used. Then we have the showering area is also, from a square footage perspective, pretty big. Those were the two most demanded spots. We do have free weights and some benches. Strength training was, it was there, but it wasn't an absolute necessary. People really wanted to burn off steam, and if they could do a little bit of weight stuff, then that was fine. Another thing we also have is a little dedicated stretching yoga area with a TRX resistance strap set up in it.
And that's awesome. And from a physiological standpoint, that's all you really need in order to expend some calories before you get on a flight. You're not going to want to do a really strenuous workout before you're sedentary from anywhere from 2 to 12 hours. And so I think from an equipment standpoint, that sounds like you kind of have hit the sweet spot for people that just want to have a little 15 to 45 minute workout, because you might catch people as you grow and expand, you might catch people traveling between legs and linking, trips together. This week I'm actually coming back to your neck of the woods. I'll be in Reston, Virginia for a few days. And then the following week I flip between Moscow, Russia and Boston, then Boston, Massachusetts. So, I'm looking at that going, man, I wish I had the opportunity to have that type of facility. What are your, for your expansion plans? And you don't need to dive into details, but how well do you think you'll be expanding, or how quickly do you think you'll be expanding in 2018?
So, like I said, our goal is to grow as fast as possible. Every day we have 30 or 40 people who walk by and they don't have time to use this time, but they say they want to use it next time around, and they do. About 70% of our users are pre-originating flight goers. But the second question they ask, or the second thing they say, is, where else are you? And we've listened to what our customers are saying, and we've taken a look at the major hub airports out in the U.S. as well as internationally, and kind of made our wish list. That being said, we can come up with, if I could wave a magic wand, what would I do? But at the end of the day, that kind of goes right out the window, because it comes down to what airport says yes. Do they have available space? Does it work well for us? Are they going to help in the build-out costs, or do we have to foot the entire bill? So a lot of those factors really influence it. I can't, tell you any airport specifically that we're going into, because we don't have any of those signed leases yet. But I can say that we're chatting with, a lot of the top 10, top 20 major U.S. airports, right? The San Franciscos and Denvers and JFKs of the world, Minneapolis, Chicago, You name it, and we're talking to them. We're also looking at, third-tier airports and second-tier airports because we like those too. We want to work with the business traveler that uses that as their home base launching point. So anywhere and everywhere in between we're looking at. But we would really like to get our next 3 or 4 locations in 2018, kind of at major U.S. hubs.
And how can people follow you, Ty, as you expand? I mean, what's your website, and do you have social media? How can people keep track of your growth and pay attention to whether or not you're opening in their neck of the woods?
Absolutely. So we've got a website. It's RoamFitness.com. Pretty simple there. We're on Facebook. You can search for us there. Same thing with Instagram, LinkedIn. We have a Twitter account as well. But really, Facebook and Instagram are our prime locations. On our website, you can find a newsletter, and I encourage you to sign up there, like us on social media, and that's going to be the best way to follow us in our expansion plans. If you want to roam fitness in your own airport, the best thing you can do is call that airport and request one. They really do listen to customer feedback, and having voices in the community say this is something I would utilize helps us by all means.
Well, I think it gets in that behaviors. And just real quick for listeners, that's Roam, R-O-A-M, R-O-A-M. And I have to say that, Ty, because I'm a fan of the Jim Rome radio show. So and you're in no way affiliated with that. You're your own entity. So it's R-O-A-M Fitness. And I really think that once you get up and going, I do think it will change people's behaviors, that people would, if they know they could get a 30-minute workout at the airport, they would schedule their day around being at the airport 30 to 45 minutes early.
Oh, there already are. And that's what we love about Baltimore. It certainly is we're in the DE connector, which is basically everyone but Southwest Airlines. And so because of that, it's a lot of O&D, or origin and destination travelers. And a lot of them are not from the Baltimore area. So we're getting these business single individual travelers who, they're landing in BWI for a meeting. They finish up that meeting and they can't go back to their hotel, right? They've already checked out and their flight's not until 7 o'clock. And now that they know about us, instead of waiting to the last minute and, working somewhere in the city, they're coming to us early, working out and getting through security without any anxiety of whether or not they're going to be late. They're being productive with their time. And that's exactly what we love.
And that's awesome to hear. Well, it's Ty Manegold with Roam, R-O-A-M Fitness. Thank you for your time, Ty, and I wish you best of luck in the time in the future to come.
Thank you very much, Pete. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Isn't that such a great concept? I mean, as someone who travels quite a bit, and for the last few years, I've averaged right around 100,000 miles a year of travel, running around the country and in some instances the world, teaching workshops to other fitness professionals. And, somebody working in fitness, you'd think it would be easy for me to stay fit or, find time or make time for workouts on the road. And I do make it a priority. But that said, it really can be a challenge, because especially, in other countries, you're staying in business hotels that are really small that don't have workout facilities. Or if they do have a workout facility, it really is a couple of consumer pieces of equipment and just a few dumbbells going up to about maybe 15 kilograms, overseas is metric. So to see a concept like Roam Fitness was really, when I saw it, I had done a quick trip. I live on the West Coast. I live in San Diego. And I had flown out of it. It was a bad travel day. We all know about those. I had left San Diego. I got to Denver on my way to Baltimore. And of course, you're sitting on the plane in Denver. The pilot comes on. We're checking out a few things here with maintenance, and we'll just be a few minutes. 20 minutes later, pilot comes on. Well, it's not as simple as we thought. We're going to see if we can take care of it before we may have to do anything else. Well, you know the drill. The flight that I was on that was supposed to leave at 6:30. Didn't end up leaving until after 10 o'clock at night because they had to switch planes. I didn't get into Baltimore till, 4 a.m. the next morning. And I had to teach a workshop that day. I had to teach a workshop the morning that I got there and, with no sleep, almost no sleep, because I literally I couldn't cancel the hotel that late. And I got 2-hour nap once I got to my hotel instead of getting the 6 or 7 hours of sleep I was originally supposed to get. So that aside, that just is one of the common road warrior strategies that makes exercise a challenge. But that's why when I saw the concept of Rome Fitness, I didn't, if I'd gotten more than 2 hours of sleep, I would have definitely gone in and done a workout. As it was, I stopped by, I talked to the two women working there and asked a few questions, got some information, and followed up with an email to Ty. And it wasn't until after I started doing a little research in preparation for the interview that I found out my former boss was the GM of the location at Baltimore. And I have nothing but a world of respect for Deborah Regan, and she is absolutely the right person to be running the operations of a new startup company. In fact, that's when we worked together. She hired me to help with fitness education programming for, in what all intents and purposes was a startup health club business. The company we both worked for was a property management company that had bought 6 health clubs, since high-end premium health clubs. And I was one of the first people on her team from the corporate level to help with that endeavor. It was a wonderful experience, and I learned a heck of a lot working under her. So it was really exciting to see someone with that background and that experience helping this type of startup. But I wanted to bring Ty on because I would imagine that, like me, a lot of you out there listening probably are frequent travelers. You probably find it a challenge to make time for workouts. It's not that you don't want to work out, but between getting to the airport or between connecting flights, or if you got a meeting in Denver, then you have to get down to Houston or go from Chicago to LA and LA up to Seattle. That stuff can be a challenge. And if you're doing back-to-back trips, it can be tough booking hotels with fitness centers. So how awesome would it be to be able to get a workout at the airport once you get through security? And now I have to admit that for a number of years, I fly almost exclusively United. And for a number of years, I've been a member of the United Club. And that is really, being a member of the United Club has really changed my habits around the airport, because now I make an effort to get to the airport early, because I can go into the club, I can check my email, I can get a few things done, I can grab a newspaper, and I can, I'm not rushed before I get to the gate, or I'm not sitting at the gate. And so for those of you that have airport club memberships, you know how valuable those can be. And I have to say, if I could buy a membership to Rome Fitness and get a workout, get to the airport, plan on getting to the airport 90 minutes to 2 hours early, so I can get a 45 to 60 minute workout and still get some stuff done before the flight, that's a no-brainer. That is an absolute no-brainer. And it's not the most extensive equipment selection I've ever seen, but that aside, it was comparable, if not better, than most hotel gyms that I've seen domestically and definitely internationally. So there are options. Just getting on a treadmill for 30 minutes and doing some body weight exercises sometimes, especially when you got back-to-back trips, is a great workout, because not every workout has to crush you. Sometimes just moving, for a little bit at a time is all you need. And as I'm recording this, I'm just thinking, flying United, I'm often connecting between terminals B and C at Chicago at O'Hare. And you can always tell those of us that work out, because we're the ones that put our suitcase, our rolling up on our shoulder, and we're doing like a little run up the steps. When you have to go down you can either go down the escalator or go down the steps and then go up the steps on the other side of going through the terminal. You always see the fit people, and I always know that they're, they might be CrossFitters, whatever they are, both men and women. You kind of give each other a little wink and a nod, because you can see all the people standing there, silently moving on the escalator, while a few of us hardy souls put our bags up on our shoulder and just use that opportunity to get a few extra steps. Because, that is the challenge of trying to stay fit on the road. You got to sneak it in. And that's one of the nice things about having an airport club membership, of just a travel club, is I can leave my bag, there and walk around the club. I can also work from a lot of the clubs have standing counters, so you can work from a standing position, which is another way to stay active while on the road. So what I wanted to do is bring you the concept of Rome Fitness. They only have one location, but as you heard Ty talk about, they are aggressively pursuing other opportunities. It presents a unique logistical challenge. Airport authorities are in business to generate revenue for the authority. So what do you want to go with? You want to go with a food and beverage place? You want to go with another Chili's Express or Wolfgang Puck Express? Because there's a formula there. How much money that's going to generate in a retail space. But a concept like Roam Fitness is brand new. It's, relatively untested. And where they are in BWI, it's not really a connecting terminal. It's, an origination or a, destination point. It's not, BWI is not a big connector hub, especially not in the terminal they were in. I think it was United and a couple other ones. It wasn't in the main Southwest terminal, BWI. Anyway, hopefully I just wanted to give you a few ideas out there of other ways to stay fit, because fitness, folks, fitness is a mindset. If you exercise regularly, if you're fit, it doesn't happen by accident. You have to plan for it. You have to make time for it. You have to schedule it. So knowing that you could go to the airport a little bit early, half an hour, 40, an extra, giving yourself an extra little bit of time to get to the airport, knowing that you can catch a workout, and even better, knowing that you don't have to shove a pair of sweaty clothes into your bag, for the next 3 or 4 days while you're going to a couple different hotels. How awesome is that? That's why I reached out to Ty and said, hey, I want to get you on the show. I want you to talk to my listeners and tell them about the concept and, get them excited about it. Because guys, as you can tell, I'm really stoked. I think it's a great idea. I really wish them nothing but success. And, it's just great. Knowing they have someone with Deborah's experience really does make me feel good and does give me an idea that hopefully they can make this thing work. So that's it for this episode of All About Fitness. Ty Manegold, the CEO and co-founder of Roam Fitness, an airport-based health club. And as always, if you enjoy these episodes of All About Fitness, if you find yourself getting a lot of good information, helpful information for staying healthy and for how you can use exercise to improve your quality of life, please take a moment. All I'm asking is you give me a rating. Right now, I'm not selling you anything. I'm not trying to push anything, and I don't plan on it. But what I do ask is that you give a rating so your fellow fitness enthusiasts can find me on your favorite podcasting service. So it doesn't take more than a minute. Please stop by. Just, give me a little feedback. You give me a rating and help other people get the best information about fitness they can. And thank you for tuning in. If you have a question about fitness or a question about exercise that you'd like answered in an upcoming quick fit tip, please do me a favor. Send it to me, Pete at PeteMcCallFitness.com. That's Pete at PeteMcCallFitness.com. Also, if you have a fitness concept that you'd like to pitch or like to promote a guest to book for the show, please send me an email at that address, Pete at PeteMcCallFitness.com. You can also follow me on the Twitter. My Twitter handle is at PeteMC_fitness. My Instagram handle is PeteMcCall_fitness. That's Pete McCall_fitness. And as always, www.PeteMcCallFitness.com or go to the American Council on Exercise, acefitness.org, to read my blogs about health, fitness, and exercise and how you can use exercise to enhance your quality of life. Thanks for stopping by, and I look forward to having you tune in to catch upcoming episodes of All About Fitness.